Hello and welcome to Sharon Local History. I would like to tell you a little bit about the Grove. Thanks to many volunteers of Sharon Historical Society, over the years we collected good amount of information. However, we don't have many pictures, so many photographs in this video are actually just stock images, but they should give you a good feel of the period. So when we talk about the grove, we are talking about what was called the Burkhardt's Grove, and it was on where Lake Avenue and Grove Avenues are currently. The Grove was originally established by the Burkhardt Brewery as a recreation area for its employees, sometimes in the late 1880s, and it was active for about 40 years. Gottlieb Burkhardt's brewery was one of the first German breweries in the Stony Brook Valley. It was soon producing 100,000 barrels of beer a year with 4 kinds of ale and 4 kinds of lager. In 1870, he bought the Brook Farm property, which is close to West Roxbury. In 1912, in partnership with Red Sox, the Burkhardt Brewing Company, by that time run by the founder's son, brewed Red Sox beer and Pennant Ale. The Sox won the World Series that year. In 1920, in order to keep up the business during Prohibition, the Burkhardt Brewery switched to producing cereal, but it eventually succumbed and closed in 1929. Okay, back to the Grove. So eventually the Burkhardt Grove was sold to Norfolk and Bristol Street Railways. It was rather common for street railways to own recreational areas on their lines to encourage people to travel to and from them at quiet times of a day and night, and especially on weekends. The name Burkhardt was dropped, and locally the area became known as the Grove. The area was called the Grove also because of the beautiful mature pine trees. It was enclosed with solid board fence 12 feet high and ran from the corner of Harding Street to East Foxborough to corner of Beach and East Foxborough, down Beach to corner of Harding, along Harding to the east of Foxborough. There's a little map to help you to understand where it was. This area is now occupied by Lake and Grove Avenue. Here is a map from 1888. You can see where the Grove was exactly, and you can even see where the pavilion was. And you can see that it was conveniently located close to the train station. It was actually our third train station in Sharon at that time, and it was called Sharon Heights. It had many uses. There were 3 large gates, 2 of them located on where Lake Avenue is now, and the other on East Foxborough Street, about halfway between Harding and the beach. There were buildings inside the fence. The larger was in form of T. The upper part of it was about 100 by 35 feet. The lower floor had picnic tables and benches, and the base of the T was a kitchen. The upper floor had a beautiful dance floor with an outside balcony, which ran the full length of the building. The dance hall had a set of tuned bells. When the building was no longer used, the bells were stolen, unfortunately. Dances were held every Saturday night during the summer. The building swayed when a large crowd was dancing, and some people felt it may be unsafe. However, later it was discovered that the sills were of solid rubber and they were large, about a yard square. They accounted for the bounce and sway of the building. There was also a dance pavilion, about 35 by 35 feet, a large refreshment stand, and a ticket booth. A pump supplied water, which was drunk from a communal tin cup. A baseball field was tucked in one corner. and a scattering of 8 swings with 25-foot ropes hung between pine trees. The whole grove was spectacular, consisting of pine trees with buds of 15 to 20 inches. Here's a short advertisement from Sharon Advocate. Several times during the summer, there would be picnics with people arriving from Boston by RR trains or large streetcars. 3 to 4 trains or a dozen or more streetcars were necessary to transport the hundreds of picnickers. The one big local picnic was put on by the Catholic Church. It lasted from 10 a.m. until midnight, and people from surrounding towns came by streetcar. This was about the largest gathering the town would have seen through the year. There were band concerts in the afternoon and evening, and a dance orchestra during the later hours. The priest behind all this was Father Costello. Other churches had their Sunday school picnics at the Grove, and for several summers, settees were placed in the pavilion so evangelistic services could be held there. Actual photograph from Sharon Heights Railroad Station on Garden Street, and these are picnickers that were at the Grove. So here are a few interesting articles from the Sharon Advocate. Feel free to use the pause button to read all of them. The first one is a reunion that was organized at the Grove, a reunion of the Stoutenham Institute. Next article talks about 800 people visiting the Grove, and they were part of the Casino Club, which were members of German Catholic Holy Trinity Church of Shawmut Avenue in Boston. The newspaper reported that they played a baseball game as well as track events. This is pretty funny. When the Germans meet at the Burkhardt's Grove, you can bet it will be beer picnic for sure. And here is announcement that St. Mary's Catholic Total Abstinence Society of Stoughton held their annual picnic there. Next one is that Sharon Improvement and Literary Association held their event at the Grove. And the last but not least is interesting announcement, lost and found. Basically, a lady lost her gloves. It seems that the railroad finished its service in 1918, so we are assuming that that was also the end of the Grove. The area was eventually developed, and cottages, smaller 2-3 bedroom cottages, were built. They all serve as private homes, all year round private homes now. There's a novel by Burton Bernstein called The Grove, and it is about summer residents who came year after year to that section of Sharon. I recommend you to read it. Thank you for watching Sharon Local History, and feel free to subscribe to our channels, comment and give us tips what the future videos can be.